Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi Waseme, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started with this episode.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I hope this finds you well. Obehi, thank you for inviting me along to your podcast. My name is Mbeke. I am an executive and managerial coach. I also am a writer, an author, a trainer, and I've worked within education at different levels and different dimensions over the past 30 years. I am an international individual in that I have lived and worked in Ghana, in Malaysia, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, in Dubai, in the UK, and in Jamaica. And I'm very, very blessed and honored to have had those experiences at a time when travel was very open to us. What we will have going forward, I don't know. So I celebrate the experiences, the skills, and the knowledge that I've learned over those years.
Absolutely. It's a question of celebrating also the moment, because the moment, like we said, is challenging. So we need to continue to celebrate every moment that we exist, because life actually have a lot of blessings. That is in store for us. I will not let you start until we talk a little bit about where you are right now, because you are a resident in UK, but right at this moment you are in Ghana. So give us a little feel of what you are seeing around you there in Accra. We want to hear from home.
Okay, so this is my second time in Ghana, staying for any length of time. So my first visit to Ghana was in the 1980s, I believe. Yeah, in the 1980s. And I am part of a large group of people who call themselves Pan-Africanists, who learned and read about the work of Kwame Nkrumah, alongside learning about Fidel Castro, Michael Manley, Maurice Bishop, Patrice Lumumba, and others. So at university, I met people who had worked with Kwame Nkrumah, and as an 18-year-old, I was fascinated by the change that these leaders wanted to make. And so within a short period of time of completing my first degree at Sussex, I visited Ghana. Years later, after many visits, I came to Ghana to work as the vice principal of Ghana International School. And I am here now in 2021, visiting, living, and experiencing Ghana with all of its amazing opportunities. I mean, Ghana is such a hustle. You cannot be in Ghana and not want to do or try something. It's busy, it's exciting, it's hot. There are always people moving about. If you want to avoid people, you need to be up and out at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, which is when the roads are clear. But past 6 o'clock, you're in traffic, you're meeting people, you're driving very close to people, you are, seeing everywhere, chickens, crows, goats, everywhere. I mean, you're standing up to buy coconut water and a chicken will walk past you in the same way a goat might walk past you, or a horse. It's just a lively, vibrant space. I'm in Accra, and I've taken the opportunity while I'm here to visit spaces that I'd been to before. So I've been to the other largest city in Ghana, which is Kumasi, and up in the north, the third largest city, which is Tamale, which is predominantly Muslim, whereas Accra and Kumasi are more Christian. And that's important because that affects a lot of things that happen in and around the city. But it's the buzz. There is a real buzz. There's a lot of excitement. And the vitamin D that I'm getting every day is crucial, because vitamin D is one of those things that our body needs on a regular basis. And while we can get it in capsules from the pharmacy, it's much nicer to get real vitamin D and real coconut water to build my immune system, because a healthy body means that I can do anything that I want to do.
That is absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely, in fact, for the people that are, for the Africans in diaspora who are away from home now, you are giving them a kind of, you are, what the Italian would say, you are strustica, you are just enticing them so much that they should, they should visit home soon, no? Of course, we need that, no?
Definitely.
Yeah, I saw a colleague of mine who went to his country recently. Then I told him, hey, so you went home to recharge, to refill
Yes.
the energy.
Yes.
It's something powerful.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you also made mention of Pan-Africanism and great leaders like Kwame Nkrumah and the rest of them that have made us to be very proud in Africa. So,
Yes.
you mean you've been following that for a long time?
A long, long time. And, the interesting thing about being in a place like Ghana is that with my background, so my parents are from Jamaica. I was born in the UK, and Jamaica and Ghana have a long, long history. So one of Jamaica's leaders was a man named Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and Kwame Nkrumah was incredibly impressed by his philosophy and his opinions. The book that he wrote, one of the books that he penned, and he talks about, a Pan-African world where African countries trade with each other, where African leaders are really independent. And he had the Black Star as, I suppose we would call it a logo now. But Kwame Nkrumah adopted that Black Star and put it on the Ghanaian flag as a reminder of the connection between Ghana and Jamaica. The result is that Ghana has a large Jamaican community who live here. Some people come straight from Jamaica, others come via the US or the UK where they've lived and worked. And Jamaica and Ghana physically have a lot of similarities. A lot of people who come here move to the Obehi Hills because it's very similar. It's very cool, very green, very lush, very similar to Jamaica. But there is, Pan-Africanism has very much been a part of my life and actions, and it's how I came to be in Ghana in the very first place, and it's how I can be here very easily now. There's a particular perspective that you have to have within life that will affect your actions and your plans, and coming to Ghana is very, very easy for me, very easy.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, what we are talking about today, which is about mindset, it sort of make more sense because we have a different channel where we talk about leadership, mainly about leadership based on the interests of the local people. So it's a long argument. So of course, I'm going to have to invite you on that since you'll be following Pan-Africanism for a very long time because we have a lot of video on Marcus Garvey there, and many of them have got a lot of view, a lot of comment, because of course it's a great personality. Not only Kwame Nkrumah, other Africans who went to study in the US and also in the UK at the time in pre-independence in Africa, they came home with this idea, very important idea that Marcus Garvey was promoting. So a lot of them make a lot of a strong impact in their various countries in Africa. So since Africa today is still not free, we are still in the hands of those who have been running the system and ruining the people. It is very important that the idea that have been promoted by Marcus Garvey, we continue to talk about them because people must learn about this idea. Now,
Yes.
Thank you. And now,
Can I just add, Obehi, can I also add that, we have had great leaders in the past, but we also have great leadership now. We also have a lot of young artists, singers, performers, actors, actresses, poets who are following the same narrative. They see the gaps in our development. They see the areas that we need to move into for us to be really independent. And they bring that message to us in a very different way. So while we celebrate our great leaders, our great political leaders, we also have, our fellow Kuti and his son. We also have Miriam Makeba. We have other artists over the years who have come from different places, but the message has been the same. So whether it's Aisha from Nigeria or it's India Irie from the US, the message is the same about ways in which we can develop and things that we need to do.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm already seeing the energy there. We are going to have to talk a lot about this particular argument on the other channel by the time we come back again, because there is a lot to really iron out in this issue. We need it. We really need it so much. Now, coming back to mindset, since what we are talking about today is entrepreneurial mindset. Now, let's look at somebody who doesn't have an idea of what is meant by entrepreneurial mindset. So I want you to give it a definition. What is your own description of entrepreneurial mindset? Please go.
Now you're putting me on the spot because I don't know if it's one thing. One of the things that it is about seeing an opportunity seeing a gap and creating a solution to that gap. Yeah. So for me, that's one of the things that entrepreneurs do. They see a gap and they create a solution to that. An example would be, during this whole pandemic, so-called whatever pandemic, whatever term you use, there were lots and lots of opportunities that were created. So a lot of entrepreneurs who had a face-to-face business saw that they could move their business online. Yeah. Now that's a solution to a problem. What that solution meant for a lot of entrepreneurs was that they then had a global market as opposed to a local market. So then they then had to look at other ways of meeting that global need. As a coach, I know that there are a lot of people who need somebody who they can have as an accountability person when they have challenges within their business. In the past, many, 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 many years ago, people may have gone to their grandparents. They may have gone to somebody in the village. But we don't live in those situations anymore. Many of us live in small units, we live in cities. We've taken ourselves away from large family, extended family setups and models. So having a professional coach who you can go to and who you can set targets and goals with and who you're responsible to is looking at a problem and then having a solution to it. So it's about having the solution to a different range of challenges. And in your country or your environment, those challenges and those solutions will be very, very different. So my friend who lives in Sudan, he always says to me in Sudan, they have had the mobile money platform for many, many years because the currency was devalued so much that actually carrying cash around just became impractical. So that was the solution. They have mobile money here in Ghana now, which again works because a lot of people don't want to have cash with them as they move around. So that's a solution to a problem. So it's about looking at what's happening in the environment that you're in and looking at the solutions that you can bring to meet those needs.
Thank you very much for that. I think that is a point that people really need to pay attention to, because when we talk of business now, because this is what we are going to be talking about for the rest of the time that we have here in this podcast, it's not like we are really, it's not just about buying and selling. It's about service. In that somebody need a solution, have a problem or have a need, you are going to provide the need for the person. Whether you are talking of YouTube, for example, where people are watching this podcast just now, somebody decided to create it. So I put through this channel, I'm able to reach thousands of people that I could never have reached before. That is a service. That is a market. So if we decide to ask for a price for payment, it deserves it because it's rendering service to the people. And you correctly also said that looking at the moment that we are today, many people might consider to be very difficult, challenging. Use any kind of word that you want for it. But some other persons have seen opportunity in this challenging moment. and that person is profiting from it. So it is very
Exactly.
important that we understand this very basic concept so that people understand that wherever you are, whomever you are, you can do something to help some other persons, and therefore you deserve to be paid. Now, looking at it from this perspective, which means anybody can actually participate in this entrepreneurial world. We will sort of look at market also. How do you think people should research their market? Because that is a problem of its own. That is a kind of a topic of its own. Being a coach, what do you tell people in terms of researching the market before they start producing? Because if you start producing now without knowing who you are producing for, it means you are producing for yourself because nobody is probably going to need it. Then you are going to consume the goods yourself. So what do you say about market research?
It's important. It's incredibly important. If you are setting up something within the service sector, so you're providing what you think people need, how have you come to that conclusion? But there are two parts to this. There are two parts to this. I'm going to go back some years ago when website development was very popular. I'm sure you remember that time, Obehi. There was a time where everybody wanted to be a website designer or developer, and people were going to college, they were doing short courses, they were seeing that as a means to an end. There's suddenly a market, people want websites developed, I will design their website. Now, a lot of people who went down that road did not actually have an interest or passion for website development. They saw it just as a means to an end, and they said, I'll become an entrepreneur in this particular area and I provide this service. However, the people who are still in that line of business were people who already had a passion and at least an interest in that area to keep going. And so when you're looking at a business, one, there needs to be a market for it. Definitely, you have to carry out research. And with our mobile phones, our mini computers, we can access so much information. There's so much data available. And if you don't have the means in which to interpret that data, then find somebody who can support you to do that. There are lots of business consultants out there. There are lots of management consultants. And you can work with somebody to have a look at whether or not the service that you think is important is actually needed and whether the numbers are large enough for your market. So that's the first thing. And two, do you have the passion, the enthusiasm, the interest and the motivation to keep yourself going if the business doesn't take off immediately? So I think those two things do go hand in hand. Yes, you must carry out your market research. You must be aware of who your competitors are, what the need is in terms of numbers, logistically. Is this something that can be delivered online? Because in this day and age now, almost every business that's being set up has to look at what the online opportunities and options are. And are you in it just for the money? All of our great speakers out there will tell you if it's just driven by money, that may well peter out, that may well fade away. But if you are passionate and it's something that you really want to do, you will keep going and you will get the money as well.
Thank you so much for that, Mbeke. Thank you so much. All right, now, because people want to see themselves in other people, I want my audience to see themselves in you. So
Okay.
How did you start your entrepreneurial journey? What has been, let's say, your guiding light, as it were? So tell us a little bit about you, how you started your own entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, so like a lot of entrepreneurs, I've had different journeys, and that's what's exciting. And also, I've often had paid work and my entrepreneurial journey. And again, a lot of entrepreneurs are in that position. I've worked as a photographer, which was a big part of my entrepreneurial journey. And at one point, my photography work gave me a greater income than my paid job, so to speak. Children were born. My my photography work was challenged because a lot of my work involved traveling. And in the UK, where, as I mentioned earlier, often we live in much smaller units, traveling with small children is not always an option. So my photography work became less, and at that point, I moved into full-time employment for a while. Right now, I'm working as a coach. I work as a freelance coach and as a consultant, and I do that internationally. So I work with people who are developing educational establishments and also who are, modifying what they do. A lot of people had to how they develop, how they deliver education. And I coach senior leaders in looking at the kind of ways they modify and change what they've been used to doing. Um, I do a number of different things, like a lot of people. So I'm also very much into health and fitness. I'm a trained yoga teacher. I've delivered yoga for periods of my life. And, the interesting thing about being an entrepreneur is it's very rarely a straight line. It's often a lot of different things that come together at different points in your life. And at one point, one thing may dominate, and another point, another thing may dominate. But it's always having either having a side hustle that becomes a full-time hustle, or having two or three things running at the same time.
So a kind of multiple option at a point, no? Because then you are going to
Definitely.
have to choose which one to give more priority.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, the research around the act of multitasking is that generally one thing loses out, and that's why I say within my career there's always been one thing that dominated. For the last 10, 15 years, my coaching has been dominant, but I also still do photography. I being a coach is about being a creative thinker. It's about being able to allow people to find their best self. And that comes from being a creative myself. So, the understanding of transferable skills, which have been developed over the years, come into play within my coaching.
That's absolutely perfect. All right, now, okay, you have been a creative person before. So, of course, you have done a couple of studies, like you already made mention of. And now, let's look at somebody who maybe have done some studies, because most of part of our demography is African city diaspora, by extension, immigrant. We do have a lot of them in our demography that we are concentrating on. And let's say this is a woman, for example, who came from I don't know which country, but she's living with her husband. She have never worked since the time that she came to the country where she's currently residing. Even
Yes.
maybe when she was at home, she was working. Because I find that in the course of our research, because we'll be following a research that led to this project for more than 5, 6, 7 years. So in our data, we find some people who, when they were at home, maybe in Africa, because that is our main target, they were already
Yes.
teacher, meaning they were educated. They know how to do their things. But they come
Yes.
here through family reunion program, but they just remain at home. They don't do anything other than, okay, I'm not saying that taking care of children is a small job. We are looking at, apart from the
It's
thing that you're
not.
already doing, looking for something that can also earn you income so that you can also support the family. You see? And you can also have something of yourself, not just for the money, but for the fulfillment, personal fulfillment, where you can say to
Yes.
yourself, yes, that I've created. Now, for those individuals who maybe do not, who haven't got this experience in the recent time, maybe since they've been here, I don't know, 10, 20 years, they have sort of lost the how to maneuver in the corporate world. Now, we are telling them that, okay, you can still do something because we are talking about service. You can still render
Yes.
a service to somebody somewhere and earn money from
Yes.
it. And thanks to the God
Definitely.
of internet, you don't have any limitation anymore. So to those kind of people who necessarily are not like you, what do you tell them in terms of entry into this journey of entrepreneurial, into the entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, so I'm going to take that question to the UK. because my knowledge of the UK is the greatest when it comes to options and opportunities that are there. So if someone is in the UK, and let's supposing they have come, they've arrived in the UK from an African country, and they're a fully qualified individual. Now, first of all, the issue of qualifications in the UK, as you may be aware, is that qualifications are not always recognized. Yeah? So, Obeni, you may be aware that if you are qualified with a first degree or teaching qualification, you may arrive in the UK with a nursing qualification and your qualifications are not immediately recognized. So that can be disheartening, it can be demotivating, etc. If you are looking to be an entrepreneur, there are a number of opportunities which still exist in the UK, and it's about knowing how to access them. So you have online courses and even online organizations that offer advice. So you can speak to somebody online and say, these are the qualifications that I have. I'm interested in setting up a business. I'm interested in pursuing a business line that I already had started when I was at home. And you can receive a lot of advice and direction as to how to move forward. The person who is exploring this themselves will have to be motivated. They will have to be persistent, because one organization may say, we're not the right organization, but you need to contact somebody else. And it may mean following a trail of 2, 3, or 4 recommendations, sometimes more, but you will find the person who can get you onto the right track, where you can set up a business, where you can follow the laws of the land in terms of having a legal business, and an understanding of tax submissions, tax payments, etc., will be given to you via those online organizations. There are a number of them that exist, and really, once you're in the country, you just need to follow through exploring what those options are.
Thank you very much for that. I was just responding to a comment that is made by a viewer who said that does it mean that we should ignore the social impediment? Well, anyway, I'm just trying to paraphrase that. I'm trying to say that yes, there are some challenges that are actually facing a lot of us, particularly the immigrant. No, there are a lot of impediment, like our viewer had just noted. No, starting from languages, starting from
Yes.
culture, and a lot of them. Of course, there are very many. But of course, I stand on the line that irrespective of the impediment that we might have that are there, and they are actually there, positively there, we should never, I repeat again, we should never give up if we believe in something. We must continue to fight for that thing. And when it comes to the entrepreneurial journey, like we are discussing today, this is a journey that in most of the cases, you are fighting a lone battle. Because
You're fighting a...
you are fighting alone in most of the cases, because
Yes.
people are not going to, in most of the cases, people are not going to support you. Let's just
Yes.
state that.
And I think Obehi, there are lots of there are lots of people out there who have wanted to be an entrepreneur and they have never taken that journey. And so they don't have the confidence and belief in self. And so they are not the people that you should be speaking to, first of all. 2, it is a lonely journey. And so whatever you're doing, you have to be confident. You have to know how to survive those days when you're feeling as if you want to give up. And some of the ways that I often share with people the ways that I keep myself going are things like exercise. I exercise every day. Physical exercise produces dopamine. It's a feel-good chemical that is produced in the body, and it also produces a level of high and motivation, natural high. And your your energy to go back to researching when one door has been closed, your energy to say, well, actually, okay, that door is closed. I'm going to try another one. I'm going to follow through on the recommendation that somebody that I met made to me. You might be in a chat room online, a WhatsApp room, and somebody makes a comment. And if that person's comment resonates with the business that you're in or wanting to start, contact them directly. Excuse me, I hope you don't mind me contacting you, but we were in a chat together and what you said resonated with me 100%. Would you be willing to have a conversation with me about the business I have started or am starting? There are ways in which we can meet and network with people which are always available, whether we're in the same room or we're on the same platform. It's about having the confidence to follow those through, because often, they say if you don't ask, you don't get. And more often than not, my experience of being, an entrepreneur and moving around the world is that when you ask people, the chances are very high that they will say, yes, I can help you. So it's about building up your own confidence and resilience at all times to be able to explore the opportunities that are there that will help you to move your business forward, because they are there.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Before we started this version of our podcast, I was doing the solo podcast before, in that I pick a topic, then I just elaborate on the topic, which is not in itself even bad, Only that recently we discovered that instead of doing that, there could be a better way to do it. Actually, let's say a different way to do it, which is bringing in some people to speak on issues, Because I cannot pretend I am learning. I cannot pretend to know deep most of this subject that we're talking about here.
Yes.
What I can do is to bring in experts to talk about it. And when I made that decision, I was immediately faced with a problem. This expert, I do not even know them. For example, like you, when I contacted you on LinkedIn, I didn't know you before. I didn't know you were going to say yes or no. But I don't really care about that.
Exactly.
There are some people I have written to, they told me, no, I don't take it personal.
That's right.
There are a lot of impediment everywhere, just to use the word that our viewer have mentioned. There are a lot of impediment everywhere. But we must know that this is a battle. We must continue to fight until we die. There is no better way to live than continuously fight. I don't want to die that I'm coming. I want to die I'm climbing. I want to be up climbing. I don't want to do any other thing.
Yes.
All right, now let's look at this moment, at this self-challenging that we are doing for ourselves. This moment, let's use the right word, COVID-19 lockdown. Has it had any impact on your own business so that we can sort of extend it to other people that are also in business?
Yeah, well, yes. As I said, a lot of my work in the UK had been face-to-face, and I moved my coaching to an online offer. And so a lot of the people that I work with in the UK, but also because of my experience of Malaysia and Nigeria and Ghana, I was also able to do more remote work. So it meant that relationships that I had already established were able to continue online. Here in Ghana, I've been offering coaching as a coach walking service. So in America, in Central Park, a lot of coaches carry out their coaching sessions while they're walking. Now, the theory behind the coach walking sessions is that when you walk, you generate more oxygen, you're much more tranquil, you're often in a green space, you're away from your desk, you're away from your office where there are endless interruptions, you turn your phone off and you walk and have your coaching session. So in Ghana, I've been offering a walk coaching session alongside the remote session. And so I've been able to continue my business. And for a lot of people, they've had to consider different ways in which they can continue their business. A lot of people I know who are teachers have set up online teaching services, their own business. So they previously they had been employed, but now they offer teaching online. And again, their online service is global. It's no longer in one school or in one region of the world. It's global. And so there are a lot of people I know who work in the coaching, education, helping areas people call counseling, psychotherapy, etc. And they've been able to move their business online. People who provide products also have been able to increase their market by selling things online. And all of these have to come with a good marketing and publicity program as well, because there's no point in having an online service if people don't know that you're there. So for me personally, it's been about, I'm available online. I'm also currently in Ghana, so I'm available for walk coaching sessions.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Waseme. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.